Almost every brawler in the game got their description reworked, and while I know that there's some mixed feelings in the community right now, I think overall this is an amazing choice. We already have the attack menu to describe the brawler's mechanics, so making the section purely for lore is a dream come true. So let's take a couple of quick minutes to discuss all the ones with actual lore inside them. I'm just going to assume you've read them already, so if you haven't, pause whenever you feel like it. Punching plants is a reference to this official animation, in her Brawl Talk introduction where she was referred to as a botanist who survived in the jungle by punching plants in the face. This is a personal preference, but I really hope him being lost out of mine is still canon. Also, he's a prospector, which is interesting. Piper. I really like the fact that she's now implied to have committed war crimes in her mysterious past. 8-Bit's pronouns were changed from his to it, but the ones in its gadget and star power descriptions are still his and he, which could be a mistake that may or may not get fixed in the future. I don't know why the other pronouns of robots stayed the same, but I think they were trying to match the pronouns used in the 8-Bit minigame, which is fair. He's been upgraded from an assassin to a space bounty hunter, and considering it's a fake role, it might be related to the 8-Bit minigame Project Laser. The mentioned effects of gems are the biggest part of Carl's description, which in a previous theory I said that gems were made of the alien DNA virus that Eve carried here from wherever she was from, and this caused the mutations we saw in the biodome and in the Summoner monsters. And this has been further supported not only by the description, but also by the appearance of a plant in the biodome in the Mega Pig factory, which would be a little out of place otherwise. It seems like ever since Eve was captured by B, they've been doing experiments to modify the germs into only having positive effects, which is what hypercharges are, if it wasn't obvious enough given the purple flames and gems in the background of the animation. Recently, Gus was retconned into no longer being a ghost, despite the fact that he was outright confirmed to be one in his introductory short, and let me explain why I think this change was. In Mortis's description, it states that nobody is dying in Star Park, which is referring to the fact that you can't stay dead forever. If you die, you just respawn or end up back in the lobby, because it's a simulation, which I'm hoping they're only talking about the simulation because it would feel a lot cheaper if it was elsewhere too. And because no one can die, it doesn't make sense for him to be a ghost. But here's the thing, spirits can exist without being dead, like kitsunes or nymphs or some forms of fae, which aren't undead, they're just spirits. A spirit is just something supernatural, it doesn't have to be a ghost, and while I understand that they're going for something more science fiction than mythological, it's kinda sad seeing one of the characters with the most theories centering around him get completely invalidated. I've also heard some people say that these were written by Star Park, and they're lying and as such can't be trusted, and I don't think this is the case. Star Park is terrible at lying. Exhibit A.
Always talk about Star Hats as some sort of mind control device is simply not true. What is his problem with StarCorp's non-evil plan? Because it's obvious they're not up to anything, and while we're at it, you don't have to worry about becoming a brawler yourself. You don't have to worry about becoming a brawler yourself. You don't have to worry about becoming a brawler yourself.
And when they are, the creators make sure to let us know that they are, or give some indication that what they're saying is untruthful. Just declaring one of the only sources of canon information can't be trusted is very bad. I'm not the biggest fan of the decision either, but that doesn't mean throwing it out the window. And that's about all I have to say on the topic. Bo arming himself with toys is a reference to the My Little Mine ad, which aired on WKBRL promoting real tripwire bombs as toys for kids. I really hope this gets elaborated on in story mode when it eventually comes out, because you can't just say that this thing is a seed and then never follow up on it. It's bigger than Eve. How big is the plant when it's fully grown? His trauma is probably referring to his old lore where he was shot with bullets in a cowboy duel, but also might be talking about his old description, which states he was the last of his kind. Both could be true, and he really needs a hug. Belle is now technically a hero, despite us thinking she was a villain, and this further supports her being Jessie from the future or an alternate dimension, which I proposed in this video, and I highly suggest you watch it because it's easier than me explaining it again. But considering WKBRL was set up by Spewed, the people against Star Park, and the Junkers are a part of Spewed, it lines up nicely that both have the same motive, destroying Star Park. This also brings up the notion that Colt and Shelly, who are trying to stop the Gold Arm Gang, seem to be villains in their own ways, and Colt's betrayal of the Gold Arm Gang was more nefarious than heroic. After all, he's even called the star attraction at Star Park, as if he's their favorite or something. With her being a security camera and RT cameras popping up more and more frequently, it makes me wonder if she has or will have some connection to the security theme this season. Paul once stated that Gene was able to escape his lamp with the unfortunate side effect of having his brain stuck in there, and this seems to still hold true with both parts of him being split between them. Sandy, both him and Tara are siblings, which should make sense considering their connection of the eyes on the forehead. All in all, I'm interested in your thoughts about the description changes as well. Do you like them? Do you hate them? And as always, until next time, make sure to have a day as bright as the stars.